hello everyone. My name is Serica, and we're going to do a little tutorial on how to do the jock-free bun, which is the new bun that we are going to use for Sugarplum celebrations. So if you actually want to step a little bit closer, I'm going to show you the different pieces that you need to do this bun. So first of all, you do need some combs and some brushes to actually pick up your hair and put it in the ponytail. You need some sort of comb for parting and sectioning your hair, a brush just to get your hair in a ponytail, and then I really like to smooth out hair with a brush that doesn't have plastic bristles like this. It's more of the actual brush fibers like that. I find works really well. Other things that you will need are obviously ponytail holders. Now these should actually match your hair color. You wouldn't want to use black hair ties on a blonde like myself. The other thing that is extremely helpful to do this style is a clear, tiny little hair tie like that. You can get all of these supplies at Sally Beauty's, Target, Walmart, even the dollar store has all of this. If you have really textured hair like myself, or a lot of layers, you will probably also need a hairnet, and once again, that should match your hair color. And then of course, you need either bobby pins or hairpins. What you use is completely dependent on your hairstyle. For really thick, coarse hair like mine, I would definitely use bobby pins and not hairpins. All right, let's get started. Oh, one other thing. You will need some sort of mousse or styling gel, and you will need lots of hairspray. So let's do it. We're gonna start with the comb to section everything out. It might be easiest if you come to the front. Kim's our videographer today. Okay, so the very first thing is you want to section out the top that's going to actually make the swoop on the forehead. And you do this by actually looking at your eyebrows. So you see the line of the eyebrow right here where the eyebrow ends? That is going to follow the line up to the crown of her head. So if you tip your head down for me, you're gonna go up probably 5 to 6 inches from the hairline. So a decent way back. So following the eyebrow all the way up to the crown of her head. So when you section it out and pull it forward, it should look like a triangle, okay? Now, we're just gonna throw this in a quick ponytail so that it doesn't get mixed in with anything else, and then forget about it for a while. Then we're going to repeat the same process on the other side. So once again, find the eyebrow, find the end of it, and go up from there. So once you have those two pieces sectioned out, you're going to take the rest of the hair and put it in a high ponytail. Now this ponytail is not on top of the head. I know that's trendy right now. This is not a trend hairstyle, okay? This is for utility purpose. It's also not low on the back of your head. It needs to be on the crown of your head.
I'm gonna come back around so we can...
Perfect. So if you're wondering where, it follows the jawline. So if you look at her jaw here, it should come all the way up and sit right in line with that jaw, okay? So use a brush, whatever works for your hair, and you want it as smooth as possible. Now, if you have shorter hair like Eva, you are going to have to use a lot of styling product to make sure you have no flyaways and no pieces that fall down. They're going to want to fall down. So this is where I like personally to switch over to this brush with the different bristles to really smooth it out. There we go. So once you have that decently smoothed out, put it in a ponytail. Now you're gonna want this ponytail pretty tight. If you have super thick hair, you might even want to use 2 ponytail holders. check, make sure the ponytail. So if you actually look at this ponytail, it's a little too high. You see how it's not in line with that jaw? So we actually need to lower it a little bit. There we go. Okay, so this is now when you slick back the rest of your hair and make sure none of the wispies will fall down if you have shorter hair. So this is where I first like to take a little bit of gel. How much styling products you use completely depend upon your hairstyle. And then also grab some hairspray and spray it. Once again, using that brush with the bristles, I like to then re-smooth everything down. I like to smooth stuff down before you actually put it in a ponytail, because if you look closely, you can see all the sections that are now smoothed down and pushed up, and all of that will get hidden by the bun. So that's why I like to do this before you actually put the ponytail in a bun. Now, because her hair is shorter, I am going to actually place some bobby pins just to make sure none of that falls. Okay, so now we move back to the front sections. So you can take out the clips, bobby pins, hair ties, whatever you use to keep those sections separate. There we go. Very first thing you're gonna do is you gotta grease them up of some sort. You need gel, hair mousse works well. If you have really heavy textured hair like I do, I actually like to do this hairstyle when my hair is wet. I find it's a lot easier to handle. There really isn't a way you can use too much gel on the front sections when you're doing this. So I'm not sure if you wanna, I'm using quite a bit on each section up front. You basically want these wet with whatever styling product you are using. Isn't that a good look right now? Right? All right, so now she has bangs, which is perfectly fine, but I'm going to redo her center part, just making sure that it's super straight all the way down to her forehead. And there you go. So from here on out, you do want to keep these sections separate from each other. Okay, so next, we're actually going to keep this comb and we're going to pull this back. Just like this. And can you grab a few bobby pins over there and just hold them for me? So this is gonna be the trickiest section of this hairstyle. So once you have this all combed back, really slick, and you know what, I'm even gonna add more gel. You really do wanna completely saturate your hair with gel or mousse. I personally use mousse before you do this. And then make sure you comb it back so it's nice and smooth. And you are going to hold this back with one hand, but you need to allow the hair to slide through the hand that is holding your hair. So now you're gonna take your comb and starting maybe 2 to 3 inches from your hairline, you're gonna lightly comb this down to create that swoop. And once again, you have to let the hair slide through this hand and do little sections at a time. Once you get down here, be careful that you don't catch the hair that is going up into the ponytail. So shallow little combs going down. This section, the swoop, needs to be right along the hairline so it looks nice and sharp, just like that. And that is how you create that swoop. Now I'm gonna hand you this comb. Now with this hand, you wanna keep it as still as possible because this is in the perfect placement. And this right now is very easy to move. So what we're gonna do is take 2 bobby pins. You might wanna come back here to show this. And I'm gonna pin right across the top, right here, to keep all of that nice hair in place. I need one more, please. And I'm gonna pin it in an X. Just like that, okay? Now this hair is extremely wet, so we're not done with it. I'm gonna take some more hairspray, really cement it down, and then just with my fingers, not with a comb, I'm gonna go and just smooth all of that down. Now, as it dries, and you gotta make sure you do this specifically if you have textured hair like me, you're actually gonna pin it until it's fully dry. I like to pin it right at the swooping part, specifically if you have bangs like her, so it dries in that shape without falling. Now, when you pin it, you don't wanna push your pin in fully so that it creates a dent in that swoop. So if you can see, it might be difficult to see, I didn't pin it fully. I didn't push the pin in all the way. And I'm also going to do this back here. And that's how you create the swoop on one side. So I'm just going to repeat the process on the other side. I'm gonna add a little more gel. Re-wet all of her little baby hairs. Get those slicked back. I can take that comb, and then you start combing it back. Once again, holding that in your hand, you start slowly and carefully combing this section down. If that happens, that's just fine. Just comb it back in. If they aren't wanting to stay there, that's where the bobby pins come in place until it's dry. I'm not gonna lie, one of the most difficult things is getting them even. So looking in a mirror should definitely help you with this process. So once you're happy with your swoop, I'm gonna hand you the comb, and I need a pin, please. Once again, going back to the top of it, pin it in place. Going back to that hairspray, using my fingers to smooth everything out. And then pinning it until it dries. So the way I did this growing up in my studio, we did the Joffrey bun, is I would do my hair before I got to the theater. And by the time I got to the theater, maybe a half an hour, 45 minutes after I did my hair, it was dry enough that I could take these pins out. Now, if you have bangs and you're worried about them falling, you can go ahead and leave those pins in as long as they match your hair color. That shouldn't be a big deal. Okay, so we're done with the swoops, and now we can move on to your bun. So this is where these little clear rubber bands come into place. Now, if you have super thick hair, you can just use another hair tie. I personally, even though I have really thick hair, think these work just fine. And I just do a single time around all of that. So that was not only your ponytail, but also the 2 swoopy sections. Now you're going to notice I'm leaving these pins in that secured your swoop sections so that it continues to keep that nice and still. Okay? So next thing, of course, more gel. You want to gel your entire ponytail. So the bun that I'm going to teach you today is a great bun if you have layers, if you have short hair, if you have super long hair, and it's easy to get your bun flat to your head. We don't want a bun that is coming off your head super far. And when you do a bun, you do not want to use anything besides obviously your own hair, styling gel, styling mousse, and then pins or hairpins to keep it in place. Which means you don't use anything like a donut or a sock in your bun, because we want it as flat as possible. So
this bun works for mostly all hair types.
Yes, yes.
And that's why we want this bun to be used for Sugarplum.
Okay, so split the hair into 2 sections and make sure that it's pretty wet once again with whatever styling gel mousse that you are using. And you're gonna take 1 section at a time. So I'm gonna start with this section. I'm gonna start twisting it. And you want to twist it pretty tight. Can you be ready with some bobby pins for me, please? So then once you twist it, you're going to start wrapping it around those ponytails. Once again, making sure that your swoop sections are still intact. So this might be hard to see. Can you reach up and grab this ponytail and just hold it up for me? Yep, right there, perfect. So then I'm gonna take this section, I'm gonna push it flat and then pin it in place. Perfect. Now you are seeing that some of her layers are coming out. That is fine. We're gonna work with that. Once I have the section pinned in place, you can either go back and pin those layers down just like that, or a hair tie at the end will solve that problem. Okay, I'm gonna have you drop that. And then you just continue twisting and wrapping it around and pinning it in place. And when in doubt, you guys, use more pins than you think you need to. So you can see I'm using quite a few pins on just half of her bun. Okay, there we go. So that is half. So next, I'm gonna do the exact same process with this other hair. Now it did dry a little bit from the gel, so I'm adding more. You're gonna have so much gel in your hair, but it will stay and look beautiful. There we go. So once again, twist it and start wrapping it around. So the second piece that you wrap around is gonna go around the very first piece that you did. All right, so this is gonna go this way. It doesn't really matter what way you twist it, what way you wrap it. That's kind of personal decision. Another bobby pin, thank you. So once all sections are pinned down, this section is a little high, so I'm gonna go back and really kind of smush that over and make sure that section is pinned in so that this bun is nice and flat. Oh, I just dropped a pin. Thank you. And there we go. So that is your cinnamon roll bun. Now, she does have a lot of layers and a lot of little pieces that are coming out just with how short her hair is. And that is just fine, but what that means is you do need a hairnet. So I'm gonna take her hairnet. Once again, of course, it's going to match her hair color. And hairnets are really easy to put in. You're gonna take it, wrap it around that bun, pull it tight and then twist it and put it around that bun, and you keep on doing that until you run out of hairnet. Then, as always, to make sure it stays in place, you sink a few bobby pins or hairpins into it. And there you go. Now, if you still have a few flyaways, make sure you smooth them down. I like to do one last little spritz and smoothing on everything to make it nice and tidy. And there you go. Now, she's not fully dry up here yet, so I'm not gonna pull the pins, but just remember, a good reminder, you can leave the pins if you have lots of layers and you're worried about these pieces falling down. Like she has bangs, so I would keep in definitely those front 2 pins. But if you have nice long hair, that shouldn't be a problem. And once this is dry, probably a half an hour after you do it, pull those pins out and you should be good to go.
Or leave them in until shortly before performance.
There you go, or just leave them in. Ta-da!